Hi Freshies, it's Sahara here. It's been a long time since I posted a YouTube video, so I figured I would spread a little love right now. A lot of you have commented asking tons of great questions, especially about the Kapha dosha, so I thought today I would discuss a little bit more about Kapha, what it really means, and suggestions to help pacify it. So when I say the word pacify, what I mean is to bring that dosha down. So if you are someone with excess Kapha energy, that means you have too much earth and water energies inside of you. So in Ayurveda, which is the world's oldest health system originating in ancient India 5,000 years ago, there are three main doshas, which are energy types, and they're comprised of the 5 elements. The first one is Vata, which is air and space. The second one is Pitta, which is fire and water. And the last one, which I'll be talking about, is Kapha, which is earth and water. So people with a lot of Kapha energy tend to gain weight very easily. They tend to just look at food and suddenly start gaining weight. So if that happens to you, then that's a sign that you may be high in Kapha. Now there is a difference between being high in Kapha right now and being born with the Kapha Prakriti, which means that you were born naturally more Kapha. So what is the difference and how do you know which one you are? Well, if you were always just bigger boned growing up, you tended to be a chubbier child, maybe at the moment that you were born, you were overweight, that's a sign that you have Kapha in your Prakriti. So I suggest just looking at your wrists, putting your hand around your wrist. If your fingers cannot touch like this, then that's a sign that you have Kapha in your Prakriti. If your fingers are just touching like that, then that's a sign that there's Pitta, which is kind of the normal average range. And then if there's a lot of space like mine right here, that's a sign of Vata. So it's a good way of testing your bone density and just if you are a naturally bigger boned or smaller boned person. So if you are a naturally bigger boned person, you may have just heavier legs and thighs. You actually have the strongest stamina of all of the doshas. Kaphas can really keep up with a lot of physical activity, though they may not want to, but they can. Kaphas, because they have earth energy, they really can give and they retain at the same time, and they're very steady. So children, when they are born and throughout their childhoods, are naturally higher in Kapha energy because they're building their bodies for the rest of their lives. So that's why you see that they tend to get sniffles and coughs and cold, phlegm, because mucus is a sign of a Kapha imbalance. So if you're noticing that you're getting mucusy, congestion, lots of allergies, things like that, just feeling really stuffed up and sinusy, that's a sign that there's excess Kapha going on. Another really great sign is inflammation. If you notice that you carry a lot of inflammation, water retention, if your weight fluctuates a lot from the morning to the night, like you might be 5 to 10 pounds different weight at night than you are in the morning. Women, when they are pregnant, are naturally higher in Kapha, again, because they are giving life, they are birthing. So that's why pregnant women, they often get swollen feet or just swollen bodies all around. It's that water retention. So if you've noticed that you're really fluctuating in weight, holding on to water, just feeling really bloated and puffy and inflamed, then that's another sign of Kapha. Kaphas crave a lot of sweets. Kapha is a sweet taste in Ayurveda, so they crave not just sweets as in sugar, but breads, pastas, carbs, things like that. Those all go under the sweet category because they give energy. Energy is calories, so Kaphas crave calories, and that's really, it's more intuitive than you think. But basically, when you hold on to excess calories and you eat obviously too many, then you're not burning them and you're not utilizing them and they end up stuck on your body. So that's why Kaphas gain weight. So essentially the energy that they are consuming, they are storing onto their physical bodies. So fat, in a way, is energy stored physically. So the reason that Kaphas gain weight is because their bodies are saying, well, you never know, there might be an ice age, because evolutionary, our bodies were designed to keep fat onto us to keep us alive. So Kaphas have more of that. Their bodies naturally want to hold onto more fat. So that's why they crave the sugary foods and the carbs and things like that, because their bodies want to retain energy. Okay, but kaphas, naturally their bodies, they don't want to use that energy up. So what happens is they just keep gaining weight. Whereas vatas, for example, their bodies use up a lot of energy because they're so hyperactive and they're so moving that they might have trouble just keeping weight on because they just keep losing weight. So the hard thing for them is gaining muscle mass and just gaining weight in general, which kaphas are like, how could you have a problem gaining weight? I could do it in 5 seconds. I'll do it for you if you want. But you see, that's the difference between our physiologies, our prakritis, which are the dosha combinations that we were born with. So you might think, well, growing up, I was actually really fit and I never had a weight problem. It actually started when I was older. So that means that there's kapha in your vikriti, which is the dosha combination that you have today. So our vikriti is determined by our diet, our lifestyle, our exercise, all of these things that change our bodies and that we have control over. So that's a really good thing that we can change it, but at the same time, we have responsibility over it. So someone might have been born and been a normal weight, athletic, never had a problem gaining weight, then something happened in their life, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, maybe just hormonally, and they started gaining weight. And then they start taking on these kapha imbalances. They start getting colds and congestion. Another thing is sleepiness, lethargy, just feeling tired and drained throughout the day. So they start taking on these kapha attributes. So that does not mean that they are a kapha prakriti. It does not mean that they were born kapha. It basically means that because of their diet or lifestyle or another factor, they have taken on these kapha characteristics. So their vikriti, the dosha combination that they have today, is kapha. So basically, if you were born just always gaining weight naturally, bigger boned, always had a trouble with your weight, then that's kapha in your prakriti. If you never had a problem and then something happened and now it's an issue, then that's kapha vikriti. And it could be both. So what do we do about it? Well, the first thing is that Ayurveda recommends is stimulation. So kapha is earth. It's stuck. Earth is the strongest, heaviest, and most lasting element. The earth will water and fire and all of these things happen and the earth remains. And that's really what kaphas are great at. They are very balanced temperamentally. They can keep their cool in situations. They get along with people really easily. They're patient. That's so many great parts about being a kapha. But at the same time, they might be resistant to change, stuck in their habits, just constantly doing the same things over and over and over again, even though it might not be working for them, but because it's easier to stick to the things that they know than to change, such as diet and lifestyle. So kaphas need stimulation. What does stimulation mean physically? Exercise, especially in the morning. So in the morning, we're all naturally a little bit more kapha because we're waking up and the earth is starting its day and we take on the rhythms of the sun. So I'll do another video about how the rhythms of the sun affect our doshas, but that's why in the morning it's the best time to exercise because it shakes you out of that like, oh, I just got out of bed and I need my coffee, and it gets your body moving and it puts you more into the fire, the pitta, and the air, the vata, and it will change your entire physiology for the rest of the day. So exercising in the morning, even if it's 10 minutes, it can be next to your bed. You don't need to go to a gym. Can be doing just quick Surya Namaskars, which are yoga flows. It can be doing jumping jacks, doing squats, doing push-ups, doing anything, but get your body to a point of sweat. That's really what it needs because sweat is the emulsification of fat in Ayurveda. It's the opposite. They say sweat is fat crying. Well, in Ayurveda, that's totally true. So you need to bring your body to a point of sweat. You don't need to be drenched, but you need to bring your body there. So stimulate your body and then stimulate your appetite. Stimulate yourself through your diet. So spicy foods are super stimulating. Not like pour sriracha on everything, but ginger, cayenne pepper, chilies, wasabi, things like that. Spicy foods stimulate the metabolism and it will make your body more efficient at burning energy, burning calories, burning fat. Okay, so spices, spicy foods, putting spices in your cuisine, if you can't do spicy food, it can just be spices such as cumin, turmeric, fennel seeds. There are so many different Ayurvedic spices out there. If you just go to an Indian supermarket, you will see all of them. And now Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and stuff have all of them. And all it takes is a tiny bit. Just throw it in your stir fry, throw it on your smoothie, throw it on anything. Just get spices in there. And the other great thing are bitter foods. So kapha is made out of sweet. It craves more sweet foods, and that makes it gain more weight and become more heavy and become more tired and more congested. All the things we don't want. So the opposite is bitter foods. So bitter foods are very alkalizing. They help break up body fat. They are detoxifying, cleansing. They get rid of candida yeast overgrowth. They're basically exactly what kaphas need. So bitter foods, what are bitter foods? Well, bitter greens, kale, spinach, Swiss chard, rainbow chard, mustard greens, all different, arugula, all of these different kinds of greens are bitter in taste, so sneak them into your diet wherever you can, whether it's making a soup with them or throwing them in your curries or adding them up in your smoothies. You know, I see these smoothie recipes and it's like a handful of greens. I'm like, no. I pack those greens in. As much as can fit in there, I put in there. I want it to be basically a green smoothie with a tiny bit of fruit, not like a lot of fruit and like the color green, okay? So pack those greens in, bitter foods. Other bitter foods include Brussels sprouts, super bitter, super easy to make. Throw a little bit of olive oil on there, put them in the oven, you're good. Asparagus, that's another really, really great food. It also has the astringent taste, which is also very detoxifying and cleansing, and it will really help get rid of the water retention. They actually give it to fitness competitors before their competition as a diuretic because it helps de-bloat the body and it makes their abs more defined. So lots of asparagus in your diet. Broccoli, cruciferous vegetables, so cauliflower and different things like that, because they're so fibrous that it actually requires energy expenditure for your body to just digest them. So just by eating super fibrous foods, you'll be burning calories. So overall, what you need to do is more spices, more bitter, leafy greens, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, things like that. Stay away from the sweet foods, stay away from the carbs, stay away from dairy products as well. Dairy products add to the congestion and the mucus and the sinusiness and the weight gain, of course. So we want to stay away from dairy products, stay away from breads, like no ham and cheese sandwiches, and go more for the bitter greens and the spices and really make your diet more warming and easy to digest as well. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. I post recipes every single day on my Instagram, which is Eat Feel Fresh. And my website, if you haven't been on it, has a whole recipe section, and that's eatfeelfresh.com. So email me or let me know if you have any questions or schedule a consultation with me. And thank you guys so much for commenting. Love you all. Namaste.